11 Bang Bang Reload Show starts now.
Hello, everybody. We are back. Welcome back to the 11 Bang Bang Reload Show. I'm Garrett, and over here to my right is my normal co-host, Snapper.
Hey, guys.
And down here below us is our special guest tonight, one of the fastest growing up-and-coming Old West gun YouTube channels, Slick Six Guns. Everybody give him a warm welcome, Snapper. Yay!
Howdy.
We will also be joined tonight, hopefully, by Duke Frazier Productions. He's supposed to be in at any time. But I'm just going to point out we are doing things a little bit differently here tonight. As you guys know, some of you do. Last week during our live stream, we got a channel guideline strike in the middle of the stream. Not for copyright purposes, not for anything like that. We were reported as scammers and deceitful information. I don't know what, but anyway, they shut the chat down. They threatened to shut the channel down. After several reviews, they removed the guideline strike, and we're back, but that has changed how I think about doing this. First of all, historic movie Saturdays for the time being will be no more, with the exception of one little finish-up thing I got to do. And other than that, I got to thinking I was worried that should our chat start to shut down, I wanted a backup plan. So from now on, we are going to be streaming at least 2 and possibly 3 different channels on the same chat. And right now, this chat is streaming on 11 Bang Bang and on Snapper's channel. So there are going to be some changes coming up, probably even going to change the intro. It's going to be more of a community effort. We are also going to be starting every other week doing a chat on Duke Frazier's channel. It's going to be called Tales of the Trails. It's going to be him hosting, basically, and I'm going to be doing some questions and stuff over there. So that's the changes coming up here. Without further ado, let's get down here and talk to Slick Six Guns.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you are blowing up on this platform. You mind telling us what's happening over there? You're going and growing like crazy.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I've done a little bit of reverse engineering. I don't know how much you guys follow different types of like online growth gurus and kind of get tips and tricks, but I've been looking them up a little bit more, and I found some tips specifically from some people. So I mean, if you guys want to take note, by all means. One of the things they were saying that would help with growth was what they call ASQ, answering specific questions, and one of them made a specific designation to that, stating that they were going to do answering specific stupid questions. And what that means is anything that is really, really simple, you should try to broadcast that, because that right now is being one of the things that's really being a big push. So I kind of took that advice and then started doing some research on some videos. And what I did was basically I looked up other YouTubers in our niche, sort of, at least people that are gun tubers, if you will, that do some of the guns that we have. And I pretty much looked at every video that I could find that had over 1 million views on it, and I just reverse engineered it.
That's smart.
Good idea.
Yeah,
that is smart.
So I mean, and the problem with that is that people try to copyright it all the time. So I've had to chase that down too. That's been a headache. I've had a lot of copyright claims against people because of that. But that's honestly what I've been doing, and I did not expect to get as big. I'm gaining about 1,000 subscribers a day.
That's pretty good.
Crazy.
It's a lot of people right now are trying to tell me, and we do Rumble and everything, but everybody's telling me it's time to get off of YouTube, and I do like you. I go around and study everybody's, what they're doing, how they're doing it. And I try to, and we have grown too, not like you, of course, but 3,000 or 4,000 subscribers a month right now. And what I've come to tell people is now is the time to be on YouTube. This is the first time, I think, since like 2008 that it's been like the Wild West out there. You can try different things as a historic gun channel and go through the roof.
Yep.
It has not been like that for the last few years. I can tell you that for sure. How long have you been doing this YouTube thing?
I've been on it for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say that rather liberally. I took about a year and a half off because I was deployed. So, and then I got back on it just recently. I started actually having consistent content.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been doing it for on and off for the last 4 years.
Yeah, well, you're doing really, really good work over there, and I sure appreciate you bringing more eyes to the community. When we first started, and I'm sure the same goes for you, when we first started this shorts thing, everybody was calling us communists and TikTokers and saying how stupid we were for doing shorts. And I was like, just give it a minute, guys. It's going to reach a whole new audience, and I think it has. Have you found a lot of younger people coming in and watching your shorts and stuff?
I don't know if I'd say younger. And I think you're first off, I think you're right. I think the shorts is the biggest key. I mean, if you look at some of the bigger YouTubers that even though they got a lot of followers, they're just not growing as fast, man. It's crazy. And you know, I'd say shorts is definitely the key. But as far as the audience that's coming in, I'm getting a lot of people that are Red Dead guys. You know, some of them are like gun tubers. I don't know if they're really younger or older. I'm certainly getting a lot of foreigners. I don't know about you.
Yeah. Actually, it used to be that our audience was all United States and India. Now our audience is like all United States, and a quarter of our audience is from Great Britain.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's funny because that's kind of how mine is. Mine is Eastern European and Great Britain.
Yeah. A lot of foreign countries coming in to watch. I think it's the cap and ball stuff.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Some of them can get that stuff. Anyway, let's go over here, guys, and I'll get over here to your comments. Let's see. We have quite a few people in here tonight. We have Stephen M. Mann, Task Force Tyler, an Angry Ranger, TNT 86, Louisiana Gray, Gray Pilgrim's in. Hi, Gray.
Hey, Gray.
Gray said, by the way, pay attention this week to AR American's channel. He and I are working on a collab. By the way, I met him due to 11bangbang. I wonder if it has anything to do with double barrel rifles. Diane Houston's in, says hello, everyone. And Doug Dukes is in. Hello, Doug. Hey, I've been in that book of yours. It's been some very wealth of information for post-Civil War Texas Rangers. Guys, if you haven't checked it out, go check out Doug Duke's books, Guns of the Texas Rangers, from the frontier days to sometime recently. I have to look at the cover again. Sorry, Doug. Kodak Tachman, Bowie's in. Hi, Bowie. Nathan Elliott's in. Turkey Creek 1823. Hi, Turkey Creek. Man, he's a wealth of information over there on Turkey Creek 1823. I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here. Go check him out if you haven't already, because lots of information on the Mountain Man era. And he's really growing too all of a sudden. He's doing shorts and really, really getting with it.
Yeah.
Franklin Horst is in. And Leonard, let's see, Hardy Hat's in. Yes. And Jonathan Picone. Hi. Duckman. And there's Hardy Hat. Hardy Hat said, I got to brag a bit. Finally found a supplier of powder and caps within driving distance. Lucky.
Nice.
All right, guys. If you got any questions for Slick Six Guns, throw them out
You
there.
forgot Garza Vlogs. He's in too.
Oh, I see him. He just now popped up.
There you
Hi,
go.
Garza. And Small Caliber Arms Review is in. He said, I'm dropping in for a bit.
Nice.
Hello. So, anyway, how did you get? I know that, Slick, I know that you are into cowboy action shooting. How did you get into that? What's your history with it? Kind of where did all this history loving begin?
Well, I think I covered a lot of this with Snapper. But yeah, I started this with first I was in the Army for a while. I got in back in 2011, 2012 timeframe. I did my first tour over in Korea and got back and basically wanted to do something new and different. And that was around 2015 timeframe. And So around 2015 was when I started getting into Western history and stuff, and then I started just scouring YouTube, in my off time, and found a couple of different things from hunting with Western guns to some cowboy action videos that were out there on the internet, and it looked kind of interesting to me. And then on top of that, just like with every person that gets back from a deployment, I went on a spending spree. And I bought my first gun. Hey, Duke, how are you?
Hey, Duke.
Yeah. I bought my first Western style gun, which really wasn't a Western gun. It was a Henry Big Boy, which is SAS legal, but I wanted something a little more authentic, so I ended up purchasing a crap ton more guns after that. Sold the Big Boy, traded it in for another more authentic gun. Ended up with a shotgun, double barrel internal hammer, which I have on the show. My 2 Ruger Vaqueros, which are constantly on the show and I can't seem to get rid of. And my 1866. That's my first set.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started doing that. I started doing SAS first. Started that in 2015, and in 2016 I started doing fast draw. And once again, I found that out through YouTube, just that there were different areas that you could kind of flex your different gun usage. And the greatest thing about fast draw was it was just one gun. You didn't have to buy 3-4 guns to get into it. And I already had the gun to do it with, and as long as it was .45 caliber, you were good. The only thing I had to get was a holster. So I went out and bought a holster, competed. I fell out of the fast draw ring for a while, picked it up again in 2019, but I've been doing SAS since 2015. So.
Very good.
How hard is
of
that?
Holsters, right quick. Speaking of holsters, the holster man's in. Man, Duke, you really got a good clear camera and background tonight.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, and I don't know what I did different, other than I got a little better lighting. And you might be able to hear the hum of that lighting because it's an old fluorescent. But
at the first of this chat, Duke, I was explaining how things are changing. Like I said, guys, I haven't had a chance tonight. We're going to try to triple stream this show over to Duke, too, because he's a co-host and has a lot to do with this show. But go ahead and tell them what we're going to be doing every other week now, Duke. Give them a plug for
so
that.
we've got the Tales of the Trails live chat. And it was going to be called the Bearded Fat Guys, but it got beat out by 1 vote.
Did you vote for that? Did you change the vote?
I'll say that I might have swayed the vote for some of that, but my family voted on it and stuff. I had them vote on it, so it's like, it wound up beat it by 1. I shut it down at noon, and but yeah, it was between that and the Bearded Fat
the polls. he got ahead by 1 and closed the polls. I'm going to drag this up right now to see if I believe I got it scheduled here.
Well, the thing was like, it just kept bouncing back and forth. One would take the lead, one would. So I finally said, at noon, whatever one is in the lead, at noon, I'm shutting it off.
Man, I wish I had known that because I'd changed my vote to the Bearded Fat Guys.
Unless I'm mistaken here, this will be next Saturday night. We're going to be doing this. It'll be only on Duke's channel. This will be a Duke Frazier Productions exclusive, so you won't be looking for it over here. And we're going to be covering the 1874 Buffalo Wars or 1877, one of the two.
Oh, we're doing it on that one? Okay, I got to read.
Well, that's what I had written down, so we might change. It might be subject to change.
We bounced around on that quite a bit. I don't remember which one's which.
Yeah, but like I said, guys, every other week now we're going to be bouncing back and forth. That is going to be a Duke Frazier Productions exclusive. So be looking over there for stuff to come. All right, let's get over.
Garrett's still doing all the work on his, and I'm just, gotta talk.
I got a giant i9 processing computer over here. I don't like to brag, but I'm now got stuff running to 3 different channels, actually 4. So
an i9 computer with a 200 gigabyte hard drive.
Yeah, and a solid state drive. But anyway, Diane Houston asks, has any of you guys had your guns lettered from Colt or Smith & Wesson? Snapper, that's his country.
Yep.
Or-
Colt. I've had a couple guns lettered from Colt. I love it. It's the coolest thing ever because it is a little expensive for just a piece of paper. Don't get me wrong, but you can, if you want the information. What does that sound? You guys hear that?
I think it's echo. Somebody does have an echo on their. It's probably their Duke or Slick 6 guns, but it's livable.
Okay, so the you can do two routes. You can pay the full price and do the full letter that comes in. It's beautiful from Colt, or it's like 40 or 50, 60 bucks. You can just send that money and they'll just email you with all the information instead of putting it on a nice certificate. I suggest it just because it's nice to keep with the gun. It also brings the value of the gun up as well.
Yeah. Have you done it, Slick? I should have asked you right off the bat. You're the special guest. Have you had your?
No, I have not. None of mine are lettered.
Now I know Ethan has. I've never actually lettered a Colt. I've talked about it. I need to letter a couple Winchesters too. But like Ethan told me when he's like, I can pay $100 to Smith & Wesson and they're just going to go into their catalog and find out when it was made, and I can do that online.
It's a little more in depth because they'll tell you exactly where it went, and how many. Like for mine, my single action army went to Hartley and Graham in New York.
Mm-hmm.
The day it shipped, and how many were in the shipment to Hartley and Graham. If the big thing that people are looking for, if somebody special ordered your gun, it'll actually have their name on there as well. And that brings the value of a gun way, 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 way up.
And I think that's the difference between Colt and Smith & Wesson's lettering process, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I know that Gray Pilgrim, if he's out there, wants to chime in. He's talked at considerable length about how he used to do, I think, all of his Colts. He would go through and have them lettered. But I may be wrong on that, but yeah. Leonard,
I just wish I could letter some of the guns that I have. If you have a gun prior to 1864, sometimes it's really hard because the Colt fire, that they're not going to have any information on the gun.
Yeah. Leonard Arola asked, anything on CVAs? Are they good? And I think he's talking about Hawkins and probably tradition style guns. You got anything to say, Duke? CVA rifles?
Historical accuracy, they're not very good. But for shootability, they're one of the best guns you got out there. Because they usually run, now some of those CVAs, they run a little slower twist rate, so like a 1 in 60, I want to say. And with pouched round ball, them CVAs do pretty good. But, for historical accuracy, that one Kentucky rifle, if you do a mountain man fix and throw a piece of rawhide over where that two pieces of wood join with that brass plate, those things are actually great for living history at that point.
Yeah.
But, CVA is pretty good. Tradition stuff, most of their, handguns are made by Pieta or Jacquard or whoever's making them. Yeah. But
a lot of the stuff from Traditions is the same stuff the CVA was making. CVA doesn't make it anymore, but CVA was way better with their wood, or it might have just been the time period difference. But I got two of them behind me, and I got the CVA mountain rifle with the 1 in 66 twist, and I have the CVA Hawken, which is not a Hawken, with the 1 in 48. But I'm going to be flat out honest. Out of all the muzzle loading rifles I've shot, some of the most accurate are the CVA Hawkins with that adjustable rear sight. Okay. I'm going to go through here. Go ahead, Snapper. Hold the deal. I'm going to scan for questions.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What if you had Slick? If you had to have only one gun, you could only keep one, what would it be?
One. I'm going to say Henry.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Yeah, it's Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got my heart set on the Henry so bad. I've got a video coming up. Yeah, Duke, I know. Yeah. Except, yeah. I'll be bringing out the Henry repeating arms, Henry, next week. I'm gonna leave my Uberti in the locker, even though it's more accurate. It's more historically accurate. I still love my Henry repeating arms, Henry.
Now, if that was a pistol, what would it be?
Well, it's gonna be the same answer that I told you last time. It's gonna be the Colt Single Action Army, but I'm gonna tell you the reason why it's contrary to what my audience probably thinks. I've only fired a few Old West single actions. And the Single Action Army, that's just all the variants I have. So I can only speak on that.
Understandable.
I would love to get my hands on a Schofield and see how that feels. Garrett, I'm jealous of your brother, Mr. Teddy Roosevelt over there.
I think he's almost got the whole Schofield or the whole Smith & Wesson collection from the one all the way up to the handy jack. He's been working on it for years, and to be quite honest, I think he likes the number 3 without the Schofield latch just a little bit better.
Okay, well, I'd say right now it's a Colt Single Action Army until something else changes my mind.
Yeah.
So.
How about you, Duke? Same questions. One rifle, one pistol.
I take the Henry because that's what I got, but I prefer the 66 over that, just for loading and not having to relocate your hand. And then for a handgun, it would be a toss-up between the Single Action Army and the first model American, which I don't have the first model American yet, so working on it. I'm working on it.
But you've handled a few.
I've handled a few. It's like with a Schofield, whatever it is, like whenever I handle a Schofield, whenever I grab them, it's like I'm trying to shoot an artillery piece because it just naturally sits in my hand where that front sight's pointing way up. And when I handled that first model American that day in the gun store, it's just like a Colt. It's in my hand. When I point it, the sights are lined up. I can hit the hammer with my thumb. I don't have to reset my grip. And so, yeah, I fell in love with that thing, and I have not been able to save up the money to find one since. And when I do find one, I either don't have the money, or when I have the money, I don't find the gun. But I'm hoping that this spring or this summer, I can get enough set aside that I can actually bring one of those home finally.
I agree with you, Gray Pilgrim.
That'd be cool.
My wife says, wasn't that the gun of your dream that you already got last week? I said, but this is a different dream. It's the gun of my dreams. It's a different dream. So, yeah, Snapper, throw that right back at you. Rifle and pistol. And you got a lot of originals, so
really easy for me to answer. The Single Action Army, the black powder frame Single Action Army, hands down. I love it. Now for rifle, I don't own one yet, but I hope to soon. I'm kind of mixed on the 66 Winchester or the 73.
okay, so I'll tell you on my end, and I'm not talking about historically. This is like, of the guns I have, the last ones I'd sell. My cut down 73, that original, and I really like my 72 open top. I love the Single Action Army design as a whole in history, of course. But my 72 open top, my dad had that for a long time, and then he gave it to me as a wedding present, so it would be the last one that would ever go.
Completely understandable on that one.
Is that an original?
No.
Okay.
I got a line on an original. We've recently bought, I think, 10 or 12 originals, and we bought so many from the same person that it's in, even though we've bought them, they're still sending them. So we're getting one at a time because our gun store has made it to where basically I can buy a trapdoor original 66 and 5070. We got 2 of them. Right now, the way the ATF has it set up, it has to go through my gun store, even though 5070 has been obsolete for 120 years. The ATF agent has said that if you can find a single round on Gun Broker, then it's considered readily available ammunition. And so, since a lot of the stuff we bought was handguns, it's all got to come through our ATF dealer, and we can only do one handgun without having to fill out an extra set of paperwork every 2 weeks, and then people start looking at you. So we staggered, and we haven't got them all in yet, but they're coming in. But yeah, I really have a line on an original 70, actually a 71 open top, and with the short grip. But I can't wait to get that. I haven't got it paid for yet, but I would love to get that pretty quick for the History of the Colt channel. After you get it, I'm going to have to send out to France for the ammo with the 22 blank caps in them. And that usually takes about a year to get. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be a while.
The ATF has been crazy. You know what's so strange is I actually asked this very same question recently to ours, and he gave me the old school answer. Doesn't matter. It's an antique. It's old. We don't cover it. It's like
It's
like
whatever
the
your
left hand
agent
is
in your
the
area
right hand.
says. Yep.
Yeah, whoever is in charge on the particular day.
Yeah, is the answer you're going to get. And it's kind of dumb because you could get thrown in prison because of just who's in charge that day.
Yeah, because they give too much control to the regional office or whatever it is, district office. It's like, well, you can interpret it your own way. And this whole interpreting the law stuff is getting annoying. They need to just write it out.
Yeah,
Give it to me plain, simple, and straight and be done with it.
Duke was there when we went to pick up that old Russian. We had to go in 3 times for it, even though it was chambered in 44 Russian, made in 1868.
See, I'm a good first term twice because he was able to find it, and then he was able to pick it up the day I was there.
There you go. Oh, Diane Houston said, "Does anyone own an original 36 caliber Remington revolver?"
No.
I have an original Remington that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, he does. True story. He's got a new model Army. He'll see it one of these days. He'll see it. I swear.
I think I've seen an original, but it was the double action model, and it was the police version. I was up in Pierce, South Dakota, and they had a couple of originals in there. In one of them was the 61 Navy that the guy wanted $6,000 for because it come with the original holster and it was his great granddaddy's. And then the other one they only wanted $2,000 for, and it was in pristine condition, and it had the original black powder cylinder and the original conversion cylinder. And for $2,000, like I didn't have the money, so I didn't try it. But yeah, I got to look at one, and I tell you what, they're a lot smaller than what gets advertised on the reproduction market.
Oh yeah, they are. They're actually quite nice because they're so much smaller. They're really nice because they're concealable, very concealable for what they are.
Oh yeah.
I will tell you that Pieta replica is a beast of a handgun that you can load just as hot as you want, and you will never blow it up because it's. Well, I say that. Take out the grain of salt. Don't load it all the way to the top with smokeless powder. You'll blow it up. But
fill it full of Trail Boss and see what happens. No, don't do that.
Trail Boss might make it. I don't know, but those guns are beefy dudes.
You know, I have always wanted to buy like a spare cylinder or something and set up a test rig with a cylinder and, try out other Miss people here and see how much smokeless it actually takes to blow it up. The whole idea is to blow it up, but to see how much it would take.
Yeah. So
that Trail Boss wouldn't take much because that Trail Boss, that's a powder I would not reload with because it takes 1/10 of a grain in either direction and you're screwed.
That makes sense. It sounds like a lot of the smokeless stuff I've seen with.
Yeah, no, it's like when I'm reloading a rifle with smokeless, usually you've got a little bit of a leeway either way. That Trail Boss is pretty tight. I mean, between the minimum and the maximum loading is usually about half a grain.
Wow. Well, no, that's funny because I know a lot of guys actually now that are loading up 40 grain 45 Colt with Trail Boss, and they're saying it provides quite a punch.
I'm sure. I'm sure it does.
Did you see? It's black powder. I can't
Everything
remember
black powder?
which black powder shooter, but one of them loaded 450 grain 45 Colt bullets.
Everything Black Powder
Yeah.
did that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
I'm
I
just-
kind of
Big old
figured Elmer
slow
Keith would have
bullets.
done that at one time. Like this gut feeling that Elmer Keith would have done that at one time.
Yeah.
I would like to know the count of how many guns Elmer Keith blew up in his day.
I know
I'll
he.
tell you right now, could you
killed a couple
imagine
single
him
actions.
having a YouTube channel?
Oh,
Could you
He would be
imagine the
demonetized
safety
so
Nazis, the safety Nazis in the comment sections telling him how stupid he is?
oh,
And
my-
yet,
Oh,
those are the
geez.
people that give us things like 44 Magnum. Him and John Browning both would have both been run out of the YouTube community.
oh, I'm sure, 100%, 100%.
And the thing with like you bring up the 44 Magnum, it's like I think Elmer Keith has proven that 44 Magnum's pretty impotent, or I shouldn't say impotent. It's not as impressive when you find out that you can reload a 45 Colt to the exact same specs. Not that the gun will survive it, but you can reload
You
it to
can do
that.
it. You know, I heard that he was shooting some of the 45 Colt single action armies, like black powder frame single action armies, like completely full of smokeless, completely full
Yeah.
of smokeless. And
That's
he
how
did
it
it
started.
a lot, like a lot, not just a couple times. And
Nobody else was stressing him. That's why he told them, like when Ruger wanted to put the 44 Magnum in the standard Blackhawk frame, and he was like, "No, you're not going to be able to do that." And they're like, "How do you know?" He's like, "I got 8 blown up cylinders over here in frames that I can."
just trust me.
He's like,
I
"You're going to
know.
have to make a super Blackhawk frame," and that's what it takes. You know, it does take some people like that to innovate and move forward. It really does. Soylent Green's here. I just saw Michigan Mike up north is in. Hi, Mike. Michigan Mike said, question. I'm going to pull this up.
That's Soylent Green. That's great.
He says, is it wrong to use cornmeal or cream of wheat style fillers when loading black powder cartridges? I'll give that to, I know that Slick reloads, so I'll let him handle that.
I don't even use that stuff. I literally just compress the powder, fill it up, and then compress the powder. So I'm not. I don't really worry about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I like black powders, because I don't have to worry about blowing my gun up with too much overpressure, at least. Because I reload 4440 all the time. Just make sure it's pretty much right at the base of the bullet and just compress it. So to answer the question, I've heard guys use it. I haven't heard much issues. The biggest thing is just make sure you get enough compression out of the
Right.
black powder. And so you can use it to my knowledge.
You
I
can.
have
That's how I load 45 Colt for my originals, because I don't like running them really hot, just because. But that's what I use. I'll load the black powder, and then I'll fill the rest with cornmeal.
I had an old guy tell me it's like on pistols that's fine, but like if you start reload for like the 450 Martini,
Mm-hmm.
you do not want to put that, because you put that in that big buff neck of a case, it really overpressures it, because that cornmeal turns into a solid, and a solid trying to get around the neck of that
Yeah, that would
shoulder doesn't
I
want to
was
move very well.
curious about that, because I saw people loading the Martini, cartridges, and I was like, they had all these little cookie cutter things that stick in there, and all this. And I was like, why don't they just use cornmeal? And
Yeah,
that would
it
make sense.
compresses
It
too
would-
hard.
It would compress it coming through the bottleneck. That
Now-
definitely makes sense.
One
the
place
old
where
guy-
cornmeal will come in is on certain older replicas. I think
Yeah.
more like your Army San Paulo and things. The twist rate in them, they tend to shoot really, really excellent, like a 36 with a 15 grain load. But the best way to get your accuracy out of that is to do 15 grains and then go ahead and do 5 grains with cornmeal, so you got consistent pressure. And guys that are shooting true North-South Skirmish Association, like true accuracy tests, they swear by using that as filler, just in like cap and ball revolvers, to get that last little bit of accuracy out of it.
And the other thing too is moving that ball forward in the cylinder so it's closer to the rifling, so that when it hits the
Not as much
rifling,
jump.
it's not jumping into it. It's starting slow into it.
Yep. And Stephen M. Mann is in here, guys. My answer is yes. I wanted to point it out because he has just started a brand new channel. I think he's gotten 40 plus subscribers in about less than a 48-hour period. So he is going over there and growing fast. So go give Stephen M. Mann a check out there. Like I've told people, now is if you're in a historical arms channel, now is the time. Jump into YouTube and hang on. It's like the Wild West all over again right now.
And plus, you get to hang out with all your friends.
Yeah. So Slick Six guns. We talked about rifles. We talked about pistols. What's your favorite shotgun?
Oh, so shotguns is what I have the most of. And if we're talking looks, I love my hammer double.
Mhm.
It's exactly what you got, Garrett. It's a TTN. Yep. That's my favorite. But for looks wise, but as far as function and just speed, is my 97.
Yep.
So
I was gonna ask you on that. Yours is a Cimarron import, right?
okay.
Is it? I was just wondering. You're a double barrel. Is it a Cimarron import?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have trouble with older, like aluminum or steel case shells? Not case, I should say, hold shells.
I don't. I use Winchester double A's. The low noise, low recoil. I've had no issues with that because of how slick the shells are, just going in and out, and they're very smooth. So
we found Duke and I both have the same gun you do. Let me get this right. Yours only likes Winchester double A's, right?
Mine likes Winchester double A's. It likes really hot Remingtons. It will run the standard cheap Federal. It'll run every cheap shell with the exception of the Winchester aluminum hull, the steel hull. It does not like any cheap Winchester stuff, with the exception of the double A's. It does not like any Cellar Malloy buckshot. It does not like Fiocchi stuff. It's pretty much Federal, Remington, and Winchester double A's is what it'll run.
And what's funny is I have the exact same gun. Mine will not run Winchester double A's, but will run Cellar Malloy, Remington, and pretty much anything like that. It'll run them like crazy, but it won't run Winchester double A's. And yes, I polished the chambers before anybody asks.
Yeah, and I had a gunsmith tell me, and he offered to fix it for me, and I just haven't got in contact with him. But what it is that extractor that pushes them out. If you notice, there's a lot of play in that thing, and it's not real well fit. It's basically dropped in. He says he can take that out, build a new one, machine a new one, and he says that problem just disappears because they hang up right there in that.
well,
There you go.
I think I think when we're talking about growth, but on YouTube, to kind of get back to that, Duke, I think you've been on here longer than all of us, right?
Yeah, and I ain't dealing with it. Crap.
So you gained almost 1,000 subscribers in the last 2 months. So
Yeah, and ever since they monetized the shorts, that went away.
Yeah, but I mean, how long you've been on here? Because I mean, I was watching your videos before I was even making videos.
Yeah, so I've actually had 2 channels. A lot of people don't remember that there was a channel before this one. And I screwed up and I used my student email account from the school I was going to. And when I graduated, they deleted that, so my channel went away.
Oh, no.
But I knew it was coming, so it's like I had time to save my videos and upload them to the new one. The ones that were the most popular, I saved those. And out of, I think I had like 2,000, not right under 2,000 subscribers. Out of those original 2,000, I had 100 come over.
Okay.
I just noticed the host disappeared, so I hope it ain't
He
gone.
did. Well, I am Snapper. I am now the host.
Yeah.
There he is.
This is a question for Hardy Hat. He wants to know oldest ammo you've shot. I found a few boxes of pre-barcode shotgun shells in my closet. I have no idea where they came from.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when you go to shoot them, make sure you bring an extra long dowel rod.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that's going to happen is that powder's just not going to go off, and it's going to push your wad about halfway down the barrel.
Yeah.
Paper shotgun shells do not last as well as old brass shotgun shells. So
No.
snapper.
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead.
mine-
Slick.
Go ahead, Slick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go
Oh,
after Slick.
sorry. No, I was going to say I have vintage 2520 ammo that's clean bore stuff. I don't know exactly when it was made, but the box when I got it was just torn up, and the ammo was darn near corroded. So I shot a little bit of it. You got 2520?
No, this is a 1880s box, Remington made, copper case 41 rimfire.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I've shot it and it still runs pretty good actually. It's what you run out of like your Derringers and stuff. I was just talking to Snapper about this because I've shot a lot. We get a lot of original rimfire ammo, 32, because we shoot all the Smith & Wessons and stuff we've seen. You guys have seen it on our channel. 32 rimfire, 41 rimfire, shoot a lot of the stuff. A lot of it we hand load back from the with the 22 primed cases, but a lot of the times we have gone out and spent $100, $150. There's a box of 38 Colt rimfire ammo from the 1873, I think. That's actually over at my brother-in-law's. I think we spent $200 just a complete full box of ammo. And we thought we're just going to try it. And none of them went off that were facing, because they're staggered, one facing up, one facing down. The ones that were facing up in the box where the box had set would not fire. The ones that were facing down, actually, I think that was backwards.
You said it was backwards, the other way
The
around.
the one where the powder was down on the primer for that 150 plus years, they would fire. But the ones facing down would not fire, where the powder was settled against the
bullet.
Against the
So somehow
bullet.
it's getting corrosion into the mercury fulminate, whatever it is that sets off the cartridge. So I guess
when did
my turn then, or next question?
Hardy Hat wanted to know when would it come out. I can't tell you exactly if they're paper shells. Probably before 1980s. I don't know when the barcode came out.
I've got some 16 gauge stuff that doesn't have a barcode, and I think that was early 80s.
Yeah.
Whenever the laser scanners come out, that's when the barcode come out.
And Todd B said I have about 25 unfired Spencer 5656 that I found on the Chancellorsville battlefield while relic hunting. Copper cases. I think they may still fire. They're beautiful.
They won't fire.
That's a
mercury
fine.
fulminate does not last.
No.
Well, that's what we were just saying though, Duke. I got these. These are over 140 years old and they still shoot. So.
But if they're a battlefield relic, you pick them up
That's
off the
true.
ground, they're not going to fire.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, if they're been sealed in a box and stored away, yeah, it's going to be hit and miss. But if they're battlefield relics, they ain't going to fire.
The only way you'd probably get them to fire would be to empty them completely out and put new powder, new priming material in them. Yeah.
Which you can do, but it's harder than it looks.
And
yeah,
it's like, well, I used to have a buddy because around where I'm at, they used to train B-17s in World War II. And so it's not uncommon to find, belts of 50 caliber ammo. Well, it's getting more uncommon now because everybody's found the stuff. But you go out, go rabbit hunt or something and find, a small belt of 50 caliber ammo. I got lucky one day and I found a full belt because the first round jammed, so they kicked the whole box out the window of the plane. But I had a friend that would take those and put him in his 50 BMG single shot rifle and fire them off. And I think like 1 out of 10 was about the average where they'd actually go off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then he'd just pull the bullets. If they didn't go off, he'd pull the bullets, dump the powder, get rid of the primer, load it all back up. So he had armor piercing rounds and brass cases, and they looked black and they looked terrible, but you put them in a polisher and they look brand new.
Brand spanking new, yeah.
I'll tell you
The
this,
difference
Todd
is they're
B,
all marked 42, 43, 44.
I wouldn't worry about shooting them. You got 25 rounds, 56 from Chancellorsville. You better just hang on to them.
Yeah, I wouldn't shoot that personally. That would be a bad idea. To even want
Those
it's
are
cooler.
gold.
It's cooler to have
One of
the
the-
original thing that's never been touched,
One of my most treasured pieces actually is Duke and I were up actually shooting when we filmed that first segment we did, we shot on the Oregon Trail, like literally on the wagon ruts of the Oregon Trail, right just to the side of it, of course. But we were up there right where they went across up past Fort Laramie on the north side of the Platte River, weren't we?
Yeah, no, we were still on the south side.
But we were just kicking along, and Duke kicks along, kicks up an old 5070 Boxer primer cartridge or casing, no bullet anymore. And I got to take that home, and I still have it over there. It's one of my.
And it's worth noting that I did find that on the county road, so no, I didn't take it off the government or anything.
But yeah, so I always wonder, because that is an old casing. It just makes you wonder what was going on when that thing was fired off.
Right. You know, I bet it would be amazing to see what you could find if you walked the Oregon Trail with a metal detector. Probably be insane.
It's getting, back in the day, historically, they said that was the junk road from Fort Laramie to the Guernsey Hills, the Black Hills, what they called them back in the day. They're not the Black Hills anymore. It's basically the foothills for the Laramies. That used to be a junkyard. Of course, there's not a lot left up there, but once in a while, you'll have something like that pop up. It's going to be broken bottles or little cartridge casings, especially when you're close around Fort Laramie, because the troopers, when they go out for target practice, sometimes they go to the designated range, and sometimes they just go piddle off up in the hills.
I was about to say, so why is that? Everybody on the trail was outfitting at Fort Laramie, throwing their old stuff out as they left and putting.
Because what happened is as you're coming across the plains to Fort Laramie, it's pretty well flat. You don't have too much of a grade to worry about. You're going across the flat prairies. Once you get past Fort Laramie, it starts going up, and it goes up pretty quick. And so people would start dumping out like their stoves, their beds. They said dead oxen were pretty common on that stretch. The Indians complaining that it just looked like a dump in that area. And the big thing was like, yeah, people that weren't smart and sold all their personal belongings, saved their clothes and a few family heirlooms. Once they got there, they realized that, oh, hey, the oxen aren't going to pull us up over this mountain. So they start kicking stuff out.
Is that where Iron Eyes Cody came from? Yeah,
Cody was not even Native American. He was a Sicilian.
I know. Okay, so
he's kind of like that Gray Owl guy, or not Gray Owl. Was it Gray Owl?
I can't remember.
They did a movie on it with Pierce Brosnan.
TV commercials with the guys crying when he sees the pollution.
That's
Iron Eyes Cody. Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was funny. They couldn't even hire an actual Native American to play a Native American.
So anyway, guys, you just keep throwing your chats up here. If we don't have time to read them or something, I'll at least click on them and we'll see what we can get out. But anyway, we were on shotguns before we got off on that. Snapper, favorite shotgun?
I wanted a double barrel exposed hammer, break action, and Colt. The only shotgun I own though is I have a double barrel muzzle loading shotgun. It's a Richards something, English made Richards shotgun.
Wesley Richards?
Yeah.
E.V. Richards.
Or E.V. Richards, yeah.
I like it actually. My wife actually hated it when I first got it. She shot it and she actually she really liked it. So it went from why did you buy this to now it's like what she likes to shoot. Like all my guns, kind of. Why did you buy this? And now she likes to shoot.
Yep.
If you guys see something fly and hit me, you know where it's coming from.
I'm gonna have to go with the 97 myself. I've always been a 97 fan. And that's funny. I was about to bring up the fact that I watch everybody's videos, and like I said, I keep tabs on everybody's channels, see what's making people grow and what's not. Slick's got his biggest short is the 97 Winchester, I believe, and Duke's biggest short is the 97 Winchester, I believe. So I thought I'll do that, and I got I think I got 200 views, and then it died. Yeah.
And what's funny is the one that grew the biggest. So I uploaded 3 that day. The first one was where I do the magazine puke. The second one is where I talk about the slide lock and how it works. And then the third one was on the takedown. And the first one and the third one grew like weeds. And that middle one with the slide lock was just dead for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden, Garrett calls me up and says, "Oh, hey, that thing's got like 50,000 views." And I'm like, "What?" And then we just watched it, and for like the month of December and January, that thing was just on an exponential climb. And then they did this monetization stuff, and now it's just dead.
Yeah, it's kind of messed up how the algorithm is that way. Like they're going to promote it. There's money for them to be made, and so until you get monetized, they don't really care or promote you or anything.
But yeah, it's funny. I was watching that grow, and it was going to hit 500,000 pretty quick, and then it just did.
Here's the thing: if they show it to your subscribers and a certain amount of your subscribers click on it, then it'll go. They'll let it go. But if a certain amount of your subscribers don't click on a certain video, they won't give you any more impressions.
Yeah.
And most of us, I think, I found that most channels I look at and I ask, the average YouTube impressions to click-through rate is 3.5. Most of the antique gun channels I talk to, our click-through rates are up at about 5%, which is huge for YouTube. But, they still don't go really far. But we're, like I said, it's a Wild West right now. Jump in and hang on. You never know what's going to send you through the roof.
Yeah. I think that's funny because I want to say, was it December that they started saying you needed 10 million views on shorts?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, that's an insane. Who in their right mind would ever reach that? So funny thing is I ended up, I think I started in December with 2,500 watch hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden they said, do the 10 million shorts. I started doing shorts. And then, like you said, Garrett, the one video blew up. And I got the 10 million shorts before I got anything else. I didn't even get 100 watch hours by the time I got
That's sad, isn't it?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it took about a month. And then YouTube says, hey, welcome to the YouTube Partner Program.
Okay.
I love it.
So, guys, like I said, we're experimenting tonight on whether or not we can get this show to really go and grow on two separate channels. I was going to send it to Duke's too, but didn't work out in time. But right now, Snapper, I got 50 on my channel. How many you got?
Honestly, I have no idea because I'm looking at the StreamYard.
I'm trying to figure out if this is really helping us or not.
The only problem that I see is between me and you, Garrett, is that we've got about the exact same amount of subscribers, and my subscribers are your 6 subscribers.
Yeah, but the idea is all together. When it comes together, I think it'll grow a lot. Yeah, see, so we're actually way over, and I don't know if it's because we're advertising. Usually we run about 30, and it could be the fact that we have a superstar Slick 6 Guns in here with us. But we are running up there around 60 then right now.
So yeah, there's 7 on mine right now. So
that's not bad. That's not bad for your first stream.
I remember our first days. We were like, "Yeah, we got 4 people in." Woo!
I remember I used to watch Duke's streams after he'd been streaming for about a year, and he had 25, 30 people watching every one. And I was like, "We're going to come into this hot." And the first stream I had 2. One of them was Snapper.
Yep.
And then we have 5. And now we're finally getting up there.
Yeah.
I think the first stream I ever did, I had like 40 or 30 or 40, and then after that, I never had that many on a concurrent.
Yes,
for
but
watching.
you went 6 hours straight on that too.
Well, yeah, there was that too.
Yeah. The 25-hour long Duke Frazier lives.
Start out at like 9, 10 o'clock at night and go to 4 in the morning.
That has to be the record. That has to be the record.
We got 8 now. Woohoo!
Growing.
Oh.
Okay, guys. So there was something here. Somebody said, all right, here we go. I love Duke's acting in that video you guys do. He should be up for an Oscar of the Year. And what's sad is Santee accidentally cut the end of it off.
Cut out the bourbon part.
The last line was, that cost me a bottle of bourbon.
Yeah, and he goes, that cost me.
Oh, I will tell you, that was quite the day. We had some mishaps that day. A couple. We went out and shot the Henry video, and at the end of the Henry video, there was a fancy little shot where Duke was attempting to pull off a 300-yard shot with the 1911. And so to be safe, we buried the GoPro in a gopher hole downrange, 300 yards, 5 feet off to the left in a gopher hole, and put it on the target cam.
You guys know where this is going.
Oh
There
no!
is Duke's. I know it doesn't show up. Right there is Duke's 1911. Right through the gopher hole at 300 yards.
Wow.
So I got to get an award for 300-yard kill shot with a 1911.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's funny was the GoPro kept every bit of footage we filmed that day except that shot.
That one. Yeah.
It
I'm
was a
telling you, that
corrupted
would have been the
file.
coolest thing ever to have that shot. If
Well,
it would have saved.
but-
That would have been
well-
so cool.
Long story short, we go to film the next deal, and we're like, we wanted to film this gunfight for Santee. And so the way we decided to do it was, of course, clear everyone out from around the camera tripod, set the tripod on the card table we were dealing with, and then shoot with. In order to make it more realistic, we would shoot right next to the tripod with live ammo, recording. Of course, the background back there is our burn, so we were fine. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I shot right between the legs of the GoPro? Because I was like, this is going to be the direct on shot. Because I always love to do shots like that. I got through 4 and I thought I'm doing really good. And I thought I'm going to put my 5th one in there. Should I? And I even stopped for a second. I was like, okay, I'll do it. Boom! And you can hear Ethan go, no! As the camera falls.
That's a perfect thing. The camera just falls and it twists down, and it was a perfect kill shot. If the pickups hadn't
like,
been there, that would have been perfect in there.
Yeah.
Ethan's like, no! Tripod. So we killed a GoPro and a tripod that day. First time I ever shot with Duke, we didn't kill a gun. We killed all the equipment. Oh, it was fun.
So the curse of Duke was there, but it wasn't a gun this time.
And
Oh man.
yeah, you guys.
Yeah, the first time you guys come up, we had a squib load with Schofield.
Mm-hmm.
And then that 43 Spanish blew back in my face because that case had separated. And then the second time you guys come up, we had the mag plate on the Luger go bad, and then that C96 tried to take my thumb off.
And then I broke the side saddle off of your Shockwave.
Yeah, broke the side saddle off Shockwave.
So what were you going to say, Slick?
I was going to say you guys have been making a lot of appearances on Santee's channel. So, I mean, do you guys just basically shoot shots, like footage over to him, and he chooses whether to implement it or not, or is he asking?
Yeah.
He has asked us on a couple of occasions, because usually it started out when we were like traveling around Fort Laramie and stuff. He wanted some footage of the fort.
Yeah, and
sadly, we shot all that, and then it got lost before it ever got down there.
I know where it's at. I just got to get it to him.
But then we've had just every now and then, if he needs something like a gun or something like that he, or something he wants to see, he'll ask us and I'll upload it. And, I'll even do most of the editing on my end on that particular part that we're on. And then he can fiddle with it afterwards. But yeah, we've done a few of them over there.
Yeah.
But this last one that come up,
Been good to us.
when he hit, 10,000 subscribers, he did a big gunfight.
At 2,000.
2,000. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 10,000. So anyway, he did this big gunfight, and he had a bunch of other channels come in, and it was kind of around the world. Everybody was shooting at everybody kind of thing. And I told him for the 100,000 one, I asked him, I said, you going to do another gunfight, or are you going to do like a bar room brawl? Because I know that had been mentioned at one point in time. And he's like, well, would you be interested in doing that? I'm like, yeah. And then he sent us a script, and that's how we got in on this one. But yeah, I figured it'd be a massive gunfight or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that gunfight we did, he actually sent us the script for it. So, but like I said, he's been really, really good to us. And at one point, he was looking for a gun, and it was during times when it was hard to find a 51 Navy. I happened on a 51 Navy, bought it and sent it to him, and we've been pretty tight ever since then. So, he's been really good to us.
Yeah, I actually was able to get a hold of Mike Bellevue from Duelist 1954.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be I'm gonna host him on one of my live streams. So that'll be coming
wow.
Wow, you got him to do it.
You brought him out. You brought him out, huh?
Well, no, I didn't. He isn't coming out. We're gonna do it just like you and I did, Snapper. He's just gonna be on the TV. So
Well, that's interesting because I think everybody else in the world has asked the same question and he's never said yes or he
Yeah, he
usually
never
doesn't
said yes.
answer. So
no,
that's very interesting. We'll be watching.
I don't know. I shot I mean, Duke's got the email that I sent out. I sent it out to everybody. I think I sent an email out because basically what I thought was I was like, wow, I'm blowing up. I think a whole lot of people could really use some subscribers. So I was like, that's when I called Snapper up. And the only reason I didn't get in touch with you because you already had planned a live stream with me. And so I was just going to tell whoever was on to just join.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to Duke. So he's on the schedule too. And then I reached out just for giggles. I reached out to Duelist 1954 and Hickok 45.
That would be
I was hoping
Yeah.
for Hickok 45, just shooting it out there. But he never got back to me, and I'm not surprised that he didn't. So, but yeah, Duelist 1954 agreed to an interview in March. So
there you go.
Cool.
There you go.
That'd be cool. I'm definitely. I'm gonna have to send you some questions to ask him.
yeah. Well, it's interesting. He isn't much bigger than Santee grew. So, but I mean, he's been on pretty much what I consider as the inception of YouTube. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Very much so.
He influenced me in a lot of gun purchases.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out the his last video he did. He used R.L. Wilson, and everybody knows that I hate R.L. Wilson. And you can see Garrett. He's like, I can't believe he's even bringing this up.
I was gonna say you're gonna bring this up, but okay.
Oh, I'm bringing it up. But I've tried to really get the point of the stuff R.L. Wilson did. It was kind of just shocking that he actually used his information. And I talked to him about it. He just said, "Oh yeah, his books are great." I'm just
well now that we've got past that, we're gonna
now we're past that.
I see that Duke has a.
Anybody wonders what happens when a bullet hits the tripod leg?
Yeah, the plowboy load, 45 caliber
nice.
plowboy load. By the way,
That's
that's
the
through
one
a
to get
folded
it check out. So I'm gonna mount this. I'm gonna get one of those like wood plaques. I'm gonna do like a European mount on that. And it's gonna say Garrett Woods point blank 45 Colt.
Out of a 72 open top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice
All
to
right,
know
guys.
that 72 open top can handle those plowboy loads so much and not have any issues.
I've shot a lot of them through it with no issues.
That's
a
cool.
lot over the years, but not saying it'll work for everybody, but it works for me. So if you
That's cool.
go out there and stretch your frame, don't blame me.
But I would not use a hot smokeless load for one of those.
Yeah. Gina Wood said, glad it wasn't Ethan or Duke's leg. LOL. Yeah, we are too. Don't worry, we were being safe. I was willing to destroy the tripod, I should say, if it came to it, and we did.
And the funniest thing of it is, he shoots his 4 shots and he's kind of sitting there and he's looking at the gun.
I was like, should I do the
flip?
flip?
Cock it and just point and boom, and then
You got to realize the tripod is only on a 6-inch elevation at this point. So I had about a 5-inch by 5-inch triangle. I was shooting through, doing pretty good up till then. So Todd B wants to know, how did Duke hit the GoPro at 300 yards with a pistol? Well, he was aiming at a silhouette target 3 feet up and about 5 feet to the right of it.
yeah. So my 1911 shoots a little bit to the left, and at 300 yards when you aim square at that thing, it's just about 5 feet over. And what was funny is I'm sitting there shooting, and we know there's one bullet hit that silhouette at that, because you could barely hear this little thump. And then I shot the next one, and you see this puff of white, and so we thought that I'd hit it again. And then Caleb pops off and he says, I think he just hit our GoPro. And Garrett and I are like, no. I'm sitting there like, I hope I didn't. And Garrett's like, no, it was far enough over to the side.
And
So I finished out the mag. And it was in the GoPro. We walk up there, and Garrett walks up to the gopher hole, and all you hear him say is, "Oh no!" And then we go looking, And pretty soon we find the door for the cart and battery and stuff. Then we find the lens, and about 20 feet back, the GoPro was back there. So it knocked it 20 feet, knocked it out of that hole and 20 feet back. So that 45 ACP at 300 yards coming out of that 7-inch or 5-inch barrel, whatever it is still packing some punch.
Tripod kill, one shot stop. Yes, Plowboy, that was with your ammo. This is all your fault somehow.
You know what's been better? If you would have shot it, walked over, stood over it, and then shot it again to make sure it was completely dead.
To be quite honest, it not only was a one-stop shot, it had a lot of knockdown power because it knocked that camera right down.
Yeah, and I think Ethan cried more because the camera went with
Ethan's like, $1,000 camera. And I'm like, that's fine. And then I kind of left and let everybody cool down for a while. Let them shoot M1 Garands. They kind of forgot about it after a little bit.
Yeah, and I go down the level to see if I can hold them 2 M1 Garands up, and I look up and there's Ethan running in front of me, and I'm like, oh!
Yep. Nobody was hurt. We were safe. So anyway, guys, we're going to get out of here in about 5. I'll give us till an hour and 10 minutes. So we're going to go for about 5 more minutes. So if you got any more questions, throw them on out there. And I want to thank Slick Six Guns for joining us tonight.
Thank you
And
for having me.
I want to say that 2 weeks from tonight, we'll be having Ethan Yazel from I Love Muzzleloading on. That should be a really good one. You know, he's been doing a lot of work with people like Townsend's and such. And so that's going to be Ethan interviewing Ethan. And I don't think I'm even going to be here. I'm going to take a break for that one. A week from today, we have tentatively the 1877 Buffalo Wars on Tales of the Trails on Duke's channel. So this is the time of the show where this is the time of the show where I generally go around and start asking our guests what's coming out next. So Slick Six Guns, what do you got coming out next?
Well, I got 2 things. I got a live stream coming up on Monday. I'm gonna be with Santee on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, my long form video. I'm gonna have 5 shorts videos with shooting. I'm gonna have a Colt 1903. Winchester 92, an original 1873, a Model 12, and then one other that I haven't decided on yet. And then I'll be doing a video long form on the Henry.
Did you say Colt 1903?
Yes.
Oh, so this one?
No, it's the semi-auto.
The pocket hammer.
Okay. Oh, the pocket hammer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I say
My finder's feet.
See, there's actually a 1903 revolver too. That's a 1901 with a smaller bore diameter. By the way, somebody up there a while back was saying that they had an original Army Special they just bought. One of the best double action revolvers that they put out, in my opinion, became the official police. I was going to show that. That was like at the very start of the chat, and I'm sorry I missed that. Okay, Duke, what you got coming out? You've been putting out book reviews pretty systematically.
I need to start filming because I don't think I've got too much left coming out. I think all my stuff is done, so I got to go back and film. But got a bunch of books I'm going to be doing. I've been trying to film those, and I've also been working on a podcast, which that I'm going to have to go back and redo. I didn't like how I started that out. Long format videos. Garrett's going to have to edit some off the stuff I left with him, so it'll be whatever he schedules me for, because Garrett is officially a manager on Duke Frazier Productions. So,
okay, so under the radar, guys, Snapper's been growing and growing and growing like a weed all of a sudden.
I know.
It's in small. It looks small when you're a bigger channel, but when you're someone that started out, you know, that was at his amount he had recently, he's just been through the roof. And a lot of that has to do with Slick Six Guns. I think his interview the other day and some other stuff. But what do you got coming out? Because I have a feeling your videos are going to start getting lots of views.
The one I was working on, I almost put it out last week and I decided not to because I decided to add more to it. I'm taking from my first model Dragoon. These are all original Colts. comparing Colt's quality of build from 1848 to right around 1900-ish to see that did it get better? How good did it start off at? Did it start to wane during the Civil War when they were just knocking all these guns out? What was the quality through the single action army years? And basically through the double action, the 1877, couple guns up to the I no longer have the 1899, but I have some pictures of it. And the only reason I didn't decide to release it yet was I wanted to throw the Remington in there as well, because every time we bring up black powder guns of the Civil War, truthfully, I believe the best gun was the 1860 Army, and a lot of people are upset because they think the Remington was. And I really want to make the point of why the Remington wasn't. The design was great. It's a great gun. It's just Remington dropped the ball on the manufacturing quality during the Civil War. So the replicas people shoot are not as good as the originals, or they're better than what the originals were. So I decided to add that in there as well to try to get people to see what we were talking about, because you usually see people get pretty butthurt about hearing that the Remington wasn't a very good gun back then, and it's just because of its quality of build at the time.
Yeah, the Lone Dragoon Snapper wants to know if you have an IG. I assume he means Instagram. Whoop,
I do not. No, I don't. I need to set stuff like that up. Basically, all I have is this format. I used to have a Facebook account. I just never log into it. I never use it. I need to set up a couple other ways to get a hold of me.
So everybody's signing out now. I appreciate y'all coming in. I'm just going to say that tomorrow we will be doing the thing I have been avoiding on this channel for the 3 years that we've been running. Well, 2.5. We're going to review the Remington New Model Army, and I'm going to do it. But the upside of that is I'm also going to be reviewing Blackie Thomas's handmade gun butter that is for sale. There will be a link to that in the video coming out tomorrow if any of you guys want any of that. And spoiler alert, it will make a Remington run all day long. So
it's good stuff.
It's pretty good stuff.
That's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something, Duke. I found the secret. By the way, the gun that we're going to be shooting is Duke's old one. Caleb bought it off of him. It's a Uberti model. And you were having trouble getting groups out of it, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. And I think what it was, because I ran a bore cam down through it, and there's one chamber that does not line up perfectly inside the bore. It's not, it lines up inside the forcing cone, so you never have to worry about it, blowing up on you. But it does not line up perfectly center of the bore. And then there's two other chambers that are definitely undersized, because when you run the bore snake down through there, you can see the chamber mouth long before you get halfway down the bore on that. So I was having problems, but the two chambers that were lined up in the right diameter, those would always hit pretty close to point of aim. It was the other four that were all over the place.
Well, I'll tell you something. I tried it just like you said, all over the place. And then I decided, just for fun, I have this big deal my brother found, 25 pounds of solder. And I took that solder wire and cast round balls out of it. Super, super soft stuff. At 12 yards offhand, one hand, I could cover the whole group with my fist out of that gun.
Yeah, and see, I'm shooting a little bit further.
It's engaging the rifling better.
But I kid you not, I took a Johnson & Dow, and I rammed it into one of those chambers that was screwy. And then I went to just see how well it engaged with the rifling, and I dropped it down in the bore, and it fell halfway down to the muzzle.
Before it caught anything?
Before it even. And then I sit there with the bore cam and used the bore cam to push it all the rest of the way out the barrel.
I mean, you could
So
always
it wasn't engaged hard.
put it on a milling machine and bore out that hole a little bit bigger.
I think what it was is that when they bored that cylinder, that bore was about wore out.
Yeah, it was because it would make it smaller when it wears. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all I can tell you is cast your projectiles out of super soft solder, and it just they deform better as far as engaging the rifle and getting bigger, going out the bore, and it's one of the best shooting cap and ball revolvers I've had.
Now, I will say one thing too is the more fouled up that gun got, the more accurate it got.
Exactly, I found that too. Anyway, guys, We're
Go
going to
ahead.
sign up. You got something to say? Go ahead. Sorry.
One last. I would just wish they would make the actual progressive rifling in the replicas, because I personally think that kills a lot of those problems. It makes them
Game
go away.
rifling.
Yeah, the game rifling.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to sign on out of here. I want to thank Slick Six Guns for coming on here today. Be sure to stay tuned over his channel. Sounds like he's got lots of big stuff coming up and some really big interviews. As always, trust in God. Keep your powder dry. Bye.